Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. I'm Karen Chaston, and as always, it is great to have you here. So welcome. Please let me know where you're from. And today I'm going to be asking you a whole lot of questions. But before we do that, I am going to take a card from the beautiful Marcia Crinton's Channel Spiritual Guidance cards, which is absolutely fabulous. And as always, we're just going to do this. Hi, Clara. Nice to see you from Wollongong. So what is the card that is the group card for everyone who is watching it live and also in the replay? This is the only card I do, so I totally understand. So many people go, give me a card, but this is it. I don't do cards. I actually help people to move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. So Marie, I hope you heard that. I don't do cards. Okay, this is a card for the group. So 1, 2, and 3, top or bottom. Oh, the bottom one's sticking out, so that's the one we're going to think. Oh my God, how beautiful is this card? And it's card number 43, and it says prayer. Now, isn't it amazing? Hi to Neil from Perth. Great to see you. Hi, Erin. Okay, prayer. And don't you feel at the moment we require prayer? And it was really funny. I was saying to someone that I would pray for them, that something was going on in their life, and I would pray for them. And they came back and they said, who do you pray to? And it was just a general question. It was no judgment, no nothing. And I actually said to them, I pray to God. But I was brought up Catholic, and it took me a long time to get beyond the man-made BS or whatever you want to call it for me to come back to God. And, obviously I love Jesus. And so it took me a while to come back to that, but it doesn't have to be God. It could be the universe, the creator, the divine healing intelligence, or the divine intelligence, whatever you want to call that person. Or, and there's no sex. It's not male or female. Whatever you want to call that divine creator is entirely up to you. But today's card is prayer. And I feel at this time, with all the stuff that's going on all over the world, prayer will really help. When we come together as a community, we really do start to heal whatever's going on. So let's have a look at this. So prayer. Open your heart in prayer and awaken to the Creator. Prayer is a source of comfort and a pathway to the divine light. Seek to enter in silent prayer and speak from the heart and soul to this infinite wisdom. Enter into this silence within and commune with the divine, where all wonders of the universe will unfold. Prayer is the offering of love when seeking support, even for others in life and for yourself. Never leave this quiet devotion without drawing from this a comfort knowing that the divine is with you. Not only is the divine with you, they are in you. You are part of the divine. You are their creation. And always remember that you are a child of the divine creator or God, whatever you want to say. Right. Sure, Sharon. I would love to say a prayer for your family and, for all the families out there, because I feel at this time, as I said, the prayer is exactly where we are. Erin, I lost my mum in June. I miss her and feel a tad lost without her. Erin, I totally understand. And I want to ask you, have you completed your relationship with your mother? The physical relationship with your mother, the emotional and the spiritual relationship will go on forever. And that's why we suffer so much many times, is because we don't complete our physical relationship when they move on to the other side. And I'm more than happy, I'm going to put my email address in here, Erin, more than happy for you to have a 30-minute conversation with you. Here is my email. When you email, please just put where I saw you or where you saw me, and then I know what as the heading. So there's my email address. Just contact me. We can set a time, 30 minutes, and I can assist you. Okay, Clara, same thing. If you want to reach out, go for it. More than happy to assist people in any of the where they are at, because that's what I love to do. I love to help people to move beyond any kind of loss that comes into their life. And as tragic as the death of a loved one is, there are so many different loss events that will happen in our life. There are over 40 different loss events. And, you know, I flicked through that first slide, which is the infinity side, where we live our life going from love to loss and then back to love. Unfortunately, so many of us get stuck in that loss because of our lack of loss intelligence. And that's what I love to do. I love to assist people to create their loss intelligence. Okay, so as you can see, there are over 40 different loss events that can affect all of our lives. Every single one of us will have multiple major losses throughout our lives. And because we do not know how to move beyond loss, we get stuck and we go into avoidance, and we will find ourselves more than likely on the floor suffering in silence, because most people don't understand what we're going through. When you look at that list, you can clearly see that a lot of the time they are just changes in life. But we don't understand that it's a grief causing situation. You know, some of them are a celebration, a marriage, for example, but we're losing our past life, our single self when we get married. And so often people don't understand that. They're too busy celebrating where they're going, and they haven't taken the time to honor and to grieve who they are leaving behind. And that's what I love to assist people to do. Desiree, I don't do readings. I do one reading for the group. For people who listen live or in the replay, totally understand if you want to stay or not. Same for Kelly. I don't do readings. I help people to do tangible things to assist them to move beyond any kind of loss. And as you can see, there's over 40 different kinds of loss. Though today, what I want to talk about, because I'm only here for 30 minutes, so that is my gift of loss process, the 5 steps that I assist people to go through so that they can move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. And today I want to talk about the pivot stage, because obviously I've talked about the other stages at different broadcasts. And if you don't know, just go back and have a look at them, or go to my website, the Chaston Centre, and you will see all of the previous TV shows there, which you can have a look at, and you can find out any of those ones on there, on that listing. So today we're going to talk about the pivot stage, and the pivot is all about you deep diving into your life and realizing that whatever has happened is aligned in the sand for you to say, right, this is who I was and this is who I want to become. And how do I become that person? How do I even know who that person will be? And that's what we do. We deep dive into all areas of your life. And in the Chaston Centre model, there are 9 areas of life: mentally, professionally, financially, family, socially, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and environmentally, which is a lot to remember. And it's a lot to realize that in order to create balance in your life, you spend time in all of those areas. Sure, you don't spend the same amount of time each week in all of those areas, but you do touch on them, because that's what makes you whole and complete and brings you joy. And because it's a little bit confusing, I've broken it down into 4 pillars: all about you, all about your relationships, all about your all about your expertise, and all about your wealth creation. That's funny, I'll put them in the wrong one, but that doesn't matter. So that's the 4. But today what we're going to do is we're going to deep dive into all about you. Okay, this is what we're going to deep dive into. And there's 4 areas of life under all about you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions for you in each of the areas. And there's either 4 or 5 questions. I'd really like you to start to deep dive into you. And I totally understand that if you're here to have a reading, you may not want to do this, but I'm here to tell you the quality of your life will always come back to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Because for every question, there is an answer waiting to be revealed. And for every answer, there is an action step waiting to be taken. And for every action step, you're moving closer and closer and closer to your goals, to the ideal person, to the person who is living and loving their life. And that's what we're here to do. We're not here to be struggling. We are here to thrive in all areas of our life. And that's why I loved this pivot section, because it is about you actually going, do you know what? I don't know what I don't know. So let's actually deep dive into my life and figure out the things that I want to start doing, the things I want to stop doing, the things I want to continue doing. And a lot of the time, we never do that. We don't do that deep dive into us. So let's just do all about you today. Next week, we will deep dive into all about your relationships on Monday. On Thursday, we will deep dive into your expertise. And on the following Monday, which I believe will be the 31st of January, we will then deep dive into your wealth creation. And it's really interesting when we deep dive into all of these areas. So all about you. Let's start at the first one, which is mentally. Okay, so here are the questions. So let's get started. Do you constantly build skills and use tools to improve your mental awareness? So this is a really great thing, because when we're going, well, I just, think and do whatever I want. But no, we have so many resources. We live in the information age. So there's no reason why we cannot improve the things that we look at. Which brings us to, do you make choices and decisions with creative and unique thinking, actualized from awakening your genius within? Did you even realize you had a genius within? Are you tapping into that genius within? And that's the thing that most of us don't do. We're too busy looking outside ourselves, looking for all of the answers, all of our mental answers. But actually, when we start to realize that the thoughts we have, the way that we actually process things always comes back to our beliefs. Have you even deep dived into your beliefs? Are you sure your beliefs are serving you? They may have served you years ago, but maybe not now. As we grow and change, it's really important for us to understand, what are the things that we're thinking? Are we thinking for ourselves, or are we bringing ourselves down? Are you open to different ideas and beliefs? Right, good one. And sometimes we're like, no, these are my beliefs. There's a lot of different opinions happening in the world. And most people are not interested in what someone else is believing. They're not even interested in having a conversation to ask the questions. Please explain to me why you believe that, or why you have chosen that way. Because when we ask questions, we find out. And it's not about us having to change our mind, but what it's about is us understanding that when we look at things from a different perspective, or as Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's not just a clever play on words. It's exactly what happens, because we broaden our perspective. Sometimes if we're stuck in our ways, a great way to actually get out of it is to lie on your back with your legs up the wall, because you're literally looking at your world from a different perspective. And that will then assist you to see things differently. Are the books and TV shows you read and watch lifting you up or bringing you down? This is such an important one, because our mental state is always about the things that we're reading and watching. And so often we go into the escapism, TV shows or books, without actually realizing that they're actually bringing you down. They're not lifting you up. They're not helping you to move forward. They're not assisting you to really create the life that you can live and love each and every day. And then the last question for mentally is, do you allow quiet time to enhance your innovative intelligence? So what is an innovative intelligence, right? Because we all have inside of us a great desire to invent things, to be innovative, to see things from a different perspective. So often we continually do something exactly the same way. And believe me, the way that we've been coping with loss has been, for centuries and centuries and centuries. Just give it time, keep busy, everything will be all right. That's not exactly right. It's all about you actually going, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And this in the quiet time, you will find that better way. You'll never find it in your busyness. You won't. You're in avoidance when you're being very busy. You are just flitting from one thing to the other, and you're not taking that time to sit back and actually go, is there a better way to do this? Is there a better way for me to think? Is there a better way for me, the tasks that I'm doing, how can I improve this? And that's why it's so important for you all to understand that who you are mentally will be reflected in the things that you do and the say and the people that you hang out with. So it's important for you to take the time to not only ask yourself these questions, but to deep dive into them. Highly recommend you take a photo of that and then take time, when you slow down, to actually write out the answers to this. And if you're not sure of the answers to this, you're not sure how to come to those answers, I've put my email address in there. More than happy to have a quick conversation with you, because all about you really does come back to the life that you're living. And if you're feeling that you're not living and loving your life because of the things that are going on, now is the time for you to ask yourself these questions. Okay, I better move on. I haven't got much more time. Emotionally. So who are you emotionally? Do you understand yourself and cope with the challenges life can bring? So often we don't understand why we react the way we do with this person. And if exactly the same thing happened with another person, we would react completely differently. But understanding who you are on an emotional intelligence level is, I feel, the most meaningful and honorable and loving thing that you can do for yourself. Because when you know who you are, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, you will create the life that you love and really do love. Do you acknowledge and share all types of feelings, anger, fear, sadness, or stress, hope, love, joy, in a productive manner with others? So often we keep our feelings to ourselves because we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want them to judge us. But the more that we actually do this, the closer we will become. Many of you who have seen me here, last year, know that when I was 16, 48 years ago, I adopted out my daughter. And she's been in my life for the past 20 years, but it was only when we really started to get vulnerable with each other and to start to share our feelings so that we could truly, 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 deeply and lovingly understand each other, that our relationship went to the next level. Really important for you to be able to do this. And to be quite honest, until you can, you're never really going to have the quality of the love for yourself. And you are the most important person in your life. You're the only person you're going to spend 24/7 with. And to love who you are, not from an ego perspective, from a deep, deep love, that is what I truly believe our life journey is all about. Do you seek to understand and heal the reasons why certain people and or events trigger you? Deep diving into you, and when something happens, when you're triggered by something, that's when you take the time is, why did I do that? What requires healing? And how can I heal? And the more that you ask yourself that question, the more you do the healing, and the more that you will begin to live and love your life, because you'll be less and less triggered. And this goes on forever. I can tell you right now, when you start on this journey, it's not as though it's a one stop. That's it. I'm done. I'm healed. It's other things will come up. It's like an onion or a lotus opening. More and more rows come up and more things for you to heal. Do you have a healthy emotional relationship with yourself? Really important for you to ask this question of yourself and to love it. Hopefully you can start the journey by, as I said, take a photo of this. This is the last one on the emotionally. Take a photo and then take the time to answer these questions. Let's move on to physically. Yay. And physically is so much. It's not just the way you move, but it's also the things you eat or the way that you don't move. Do you maximize wellness? That's, let's face it, in what's been going on worldwide for the last couple of years, wellness has been so important. Unfortunately, it hasn't been pushed the way that it really could have been, as in now's the time for us all to get healthy. We all have an immune system. Let's build it up. Let's actually look at the quality of the food that we're putting in our mouths. What we eat today walks and talks tomorrow. So when we understand that when we are putting live, vibrant food into our bodies, we will become live and vibrant. It really is that simple. Do you maintain adequate and quality eating habits? Do you take time to stop and to eat and to enjoy each and every mouthful, and instead of just shoving it down while you're sitting at your desk, distracted, not realizing that you're full and you continue to eat? Really important. Do you regularly exercise and stretch your muscles to build endurance and stamina? We all know exactly how to be healthy. We all know how to stretch and exercise, but do we do it? No, we go, I'm a little bit tired, I'm not going to do it. But the funny thing is, the more you do it when you're tired, the more energized you become and the less tired you feel. It's like that catch-22. You got to go, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, it works for me. The next one, are you clean, neat, well presented and tidy? Your physical appearance is so important. People will judge you on how you look. You can, sort of say, oh, no one should judge anyone, but we all do it. And our first impressions are so important. It is important for us to look clean, neat, well presented and tidy. People then sort of put you straight away at this level. I'll tell you a funny story. My girlfriend and I were walking around Hope Island probably about a month ago, and with my dog, and my dog had done a poo and I couldn't find a garbage bin anywhere. Right? And we were walking around in our exercise gear. It's not as though we were dressed to the nines or anything like that. But as we sort of walked around, there were some bins that had either been emptied or were about to be emptied. And we walked along past this house and I picked up the lid to the bin. It had already been emptied and the owner was standing in the front yard. And he said, are you all right? And I just went, oh, yeah, sorry. I was just seeing if the bin's been emptied. I was about to put, my dog poo in it, but I won't do that because it's been emptied. And he went, oh, wow, thanks. He says, I'm really glad you did. He goes, I was looking at you two and I was thinking, those two girls don't really look like they need to be, scrounging in other people's bins. And we thought it was quite funny. But, people will judge the way you look. Sure, we had our exercise gear on, but it's obviously the way we had our hair done or our nails or whatever it was. But it's really important for you to understand always to physically look your best. Okay? Even when you're not feeling well, you can still do a little bit to lift yourself up and make yourself feel a little bit better. And then the last one for physically, are you aware of the effects all types of food have on you physically? Now, it's really important that we understand this because we may have an intolerance. We may not be allergic to it, but we could have an intolerance to it. I find that if I eat a lot of gluten, I will blow up. I can eat a little bit of it, but, and I tend not to. But every now and then you just go, oh, I really would like this or that. So you have it, but in moderation. And that's because I've tested different types of food. My grandson, who is 7 months old now, little Austin, his mother is introducing new foods, but she's doing it very, very slowly to see if he does have an intolerance to certain different foods. If she just put them all together, she wouldn't be able to pinpoint which one it is. So it's really important for you to know what foods do in your body. Some days they may be great, other days they won't. But that's why we look at ourselves physically. Okay, I've got 5 minutes left. And we're now on to the last one, which is spiritually. Do you follow a daily spiritual practice? Now, so often people just think spiritual, no, meditation, that's it. No, there are so many different types of spiritual practice. It could be journaling. It could be reading a book that helps you to think differently, to see different things. It could also be a walking meditation. It could be a meditation. It could be a visualization. There are so many different ways that you can introduce a daily spiritual practice. So much so that each day of the week, for half an hour when you wake up, you could turn around and do a different practice each morning. And it's all about you realizing that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. And the more we tap into the world beyond where we have all come from and where we're all going back to, the more easier it is for us to be grounded in this planet and to also bypass the busyness of this world, the density of this world, and I highly recommend limit media. The media just seems to be there to put you into fear and to put you into lack. Whereas when you have a daily spiritual practice, you come back to you and you tune in to your own intuition. We have three brains: our mental, our heart, and our soul, which is in our gut. So the more that you actually tune into all three of them, the more in tune you will be with not only who you are, but where you are going. And that is the beauty of, taking time to understand yourself spiritually. Do you feel a sense of meaningful purpose? We're all here for a reason, okay? And it doesn't have to be this great thing where I'm going to change the world, I'm going to feed the starving or anything like that. It can be that. But, a meaningful purpose could be that you are here to be the best mother on earth, to bring your children up in a way that they can become responsible adults into the new world that we're all creating at the moment. A meaningful purpose could be so many different things, but don't be disheartened if it's not this, I'm going to change the world, by doing this, Mother Teresa or stuff like that. And let's face it, she still had a very, very hard time in her life if you have a look at it. The third one is, do you have a sense of balance and inner harmony within yourself? Connecting your inner world with your outer world is so important. And also realizing that so often we compare who we are with other people, but realize that you are comparing your inner and outer house, so your backer house, with everyone else's outer house, their front of house. So you're not actually doing a like for like comparison. So take time to realize that you know yourself inner and outer, whereas other people who you're comparing yourself with, it's not a fair thing. There's one person and only one person you should ever compare yourself to, and that is yesterday you, or who I call yesterday me. So start looking at yesterday me, and then each night, ask yourself some questions. What would I do differently next time? What would I do exactly the same? What did I learn today? That's how you grow yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Are you being genuine and truthfully honest with yourself? It's so easy to lie to ourselves. Take the time to actually go, is that true? Like, is that really how I feel? Is this really where I'm going? Could I have done better? Be honest, because yesterday me knows the answer. Do you have an inner knowing and are living your higher spiritual values? So important. So many people talk about their values and then they do the complete opposite. But the more in tune you are with you, the better you will be. So that's it. Take a photo of spiritually. Oh, I'll bring back number 5. Take a photo of this. This is the 5th one for spiritually. So that's it for today. And as always, I really do hope that you download Demystifying Loss. It truly is the time for all of us to demystify loss, to have that understanding so that we can actually learn how to live and love our lives. Any questions? Now's the time to put it in. Go to the Chaston Centre. You'll see the bookshelf there, and you can either buy it on Amazon from there, Kindle, or of course you can come along and I will send you a copy through the Chaston Centre. So if there's no more questions, I have done my 30 minutes. I'll be back here on Monday and we will be going through the all about your relationships. Thank you. Great advice to Neil. Have realized I need to focus on the physical me. Yeah, and that's just it. So often we forget, that we just look at our life as just one thing. We don't deep dive into all different areas of our lives. Glad I could help to Neil. And as always, and if you want to reach out, my email address here. Otherwise, I'll see you here Monday at 11 a.m. Queensland. Bye for now.